Hello and welcome to the Rum Revival. My name's Arminder and today I have another haul video for you where I highlight and showcase all the bottles of rum that I've bought over the last couple of weeks. Now I wasn't really planning on doing another one of these so soon since the last one, but I just started accumulating a lot of bottles and I figured, what the heck, I'll highlight what I've got, and for each thing that I bought, I'll explain to you why I bought it and if I have tried it, what I think of it. Alright, so let's start off this lineup by highlighting a number of rums that I purchased to kind of primarily sip on neat. And let's start off with Foursquare Equipoise. Now this is the newest release in the Exceptional Cask Selection series. It is bottled at 61% ABV, it's aged 14 years, and it's actually a blend of two rums. Now both of those rums were first aged a number of years in ex-bourbon casks, and then they were moved over into ex-Calvados casks where they were further aged. I realized when I bought this that I haven't really done a full video dedicated on YouTube to the Exceptional Cask Selection series, either any specific release in the series or the series as a whole. So I figured, you know what, this would be a good opportunity to kind of do two things at the same time. One, to kind of just review a rum, but also to kind of talk about the series as a whole. So obviously I'm not going to spoil too much of the review, I'll save that for later. A couple things I will say, I found this to be much more drinkable than some of the other releases in the series. Sometimes I struggle with the high ABV and kind of the fact that it needs to uncoil a little bit. The other thing I will say is that I like this more than the Touchstone, which is the one that was aged in cognac casks. So there's that. But for the rest of the review, you'll have to keep an eye out and see what I say. Now the next release that I want to talk about is something that was a bit of a surprise for me, and that's a new Alembique Serrano release. So this came out of nowhere. This is blend number 5. So it's the next blend in the series. It's called El Boxador. So far to date, the blends 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been, wider national releases. But this kind of bucks that trend because blend number 5 is only available in one place, maybe technically two, and that's Price Fighter. Price Fighter, the bottle shop, Price Fighter, the bar, which is right next door. If you're not familiar, Price Fighter is a fantastic bar and bottle shop in Emeryville here in the East Bay. This is made from cane juice in Oaxaca, specifically in Mexico, by the Crassel family. And this is actually a blend of two different rums, two casks. Now one of those rums is a pot still rum aged 19 months in New French oak, and the other rum is a column still rum, their Crassel still that they built or their grandfather built. And that's been aged 27 months in first fill ex-bourbon casks. And it's bottled at 65.9% ABV. And I think I bought it for like $70-ish, $75, which is on par with all the other Alembique Serrano releases. Tried actually just earlier today, I tried it for the first time. You know what, I will say this is delightful. It very much has these notes of like clove, but clove candy or like a clove molasses cookie. So you get all that kind of nice flavor of the clove without all that kind of harsh intensity or drying effect. It's super delicious, and I do look forward to kind of really diving into it significantly. Next up, to add to my collection of rum agricoles to drink throughout this summer, like I had featured in my previous haul video where I had like 4 of them, I'm adding one more to the lineup, and that's Rum Bolin, or Rum Bolone, however you pronounce it. This is a rum from Guadeloupe. It is kind of only gotten to the US market in the last maybe 6 months or so. This is bottled at 50% ABV, 100% cane juice rum, unaged, full liter. I think it was relatively affordable. It's like 40 or 50 bucks, I think. And obviously, as you know, I love cane juice rums. I haven't had a whole lot of unaged cane juice rums from Guadeloupe. So I was very excited to try another producer out from Guadeloupe because we don't get a whole lot of them. I think maybe Pierre Labat and now these guys are the only ones, or with any kind of consistency, I guess. I knew the moment it came out that I would buy it eventually, and summertime is my time for cane juice rums. And so I figured, I'm gonna buy it, and I did, and obviously very excited to try it. I'm not gonna lie, a big part of the appeal to me, just kind of on a visual level, is the Oakland A's colors. I'm not even a baseball fan. I'm not even a sports person, frankly, but living in the Bay Area, living in the East Bay, yellow and green are kind of ingrained in you. So, the moment you see it, that's immediately what I thought of, and it's nothing but good feelings. And the next up in the lineup is Birra South Pacific 12-year. Now, the rum itself, the liquid inside, is a Fijian rum, aged 12 years, pot still rum, bottled at 55% ABV, aged 12 years, fully in Fiji. But this is from an independent bottler, specifically from Birra, which is an independent bottler out in Canada. So this is a exclusive bottling for Canada. So if you're not watching from Canada, unfortunately you can't get your hands on it, but go to Vancouver and hang out and get yourself this bottle because it is amazing. Love it. Finished my first bottle And I had the opportunity because I was in Canada this weekend. I got to hang out with Carl, the owner of the brand. Really, really nice guy, sweet guy, and we had a great time, and he was so kind and generous to give me another bottle, which was awesome, and I really think this is probably my favorite Fijian rum I've ever had. Just this great balance between industrial notes, tropical fruit notes, and good amount of like oak aging flavors as well, kind of in harmony. Really nice kind of industrial menthol-y notes that I really, really like, medicinal notes, and just quite a treat. Super drinkable. Next up on the list is Brugal 1888. Now this is a rum from the Dominican Republic, bottled at 40% ABV, and it has a net. Now I haven't had this rum in forever, like more than 5, 6, 7 years probably. So I bought this rum for two reasons, one of which you'll see in a future video. But secondly, because I've realized in general, for my own kind of drinking habits, but also for the content that I put out on YouTube, I don't really touch too much on rums from places like the Dominican Republic or Venezuela, a lot of the Spanish-speaking regions of like the Caribbean, Central and South America. I mean, besides stuff from Mexico. I do a lot of stuff about Mexico, but outside of that, I don't, right? And I want to kind of change that, right? I want to, one, just drink more of that stuff and have a better understanding and appreciation for that stuff. And then, where it warrants it, where I have something to say, then share that on the channel. So I figure, I need to make more of an effort to get my hands on, to try those rums that I may or may not have tried in the past, rums I thought dismissed. I think it's worth kind of going back and reassessing them. And so because this was one of the first rums that I ever had from the Dominican Republic, I figured, I'm gonna go back to this and try it and see what I think. So the next couple of rums that I'm gonna feature are rums that I guess I'm gonna collectively call my daiquiri section of the video. These are rums that I've purchased or got my hands on because I really like them in a daiquiri, or I'm looking forward to trying them in a daiquiri. And so first and foremost is 10-to-1 Caribbean white rum. So this is actually a blended rum. It's a blend of rums from Dominican Republic and Jamaica, and it's bottled at 45% ABV. Now, a couple things about this. I have never purchased a bottle of this. I did not purchase this bottle either. No, the brand did not send me this either. Instead, Derek from the Make and Drink YouTube channel gave me this bottle. Well, gave me this much of this bottle. It was open. Now, if you haven't seen it already, I recently made an appearance on Derek's YouTube channel. And what we did was a blind tasting of a number of light rums. And we tried them specifically in daiquiris. There was, I think, a total of 5 of them. We were just trying them and kind of giving our gut reaction to them. I will link the video down below. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm gonna give you full spoilers right now, but this rum was the winner. For me, at least. Derek, I think, maybe had a different... Actually, this might have been Derek's as well. I'm not quite sure. But for me, this was absolutely my favorite of the 5. And because of that, he gave me the whatever was left in the bottle. And I gotta say, I was really, really surprised. That daiquiri had funky Jamaican notes, but it wasn't just like full-on just Jamaican. There was an element of like slightly industrial notes that really kind of appealed to me. So I've had this rum before, daiquiris, neat, other cocktails at bars, and I've never been impressed. Like I didn't hate it, but I was just like, whatever. And that was it. And I kind of dismissed the rum and moved on and never really bothered to really kind of get my hands on it and really kind of spend time with it. And I regret that now because clearly, at least in that tasting of the 5 rums that we had in the video, I really, really like this. So, that goes to show you, sometimes your first impression shouldn't be your last impression or the lasting impression because, you can come back to a rum and it might surprise you. Now, moving on to the next rum that I bought to specifically have in daiquiris, it's the Dead Reckoning Killick release. This is a rum from Australia. Killick is a relatively new and small distillery in Australia. I think they're in Melbourne, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. This is bottled, it's unaged. It's a pot still, single retort, high ester, funky rum. And they actually do use dunder and muck, much like Jamaican rums do, like Rumfire and like Hamden. It's wild fermented, and then it's bottled at 55% ABV. Now, I've actually had 2 samples of this before. The brand sent me a sample, and then I got my hands on another sample. And let me tell you, drinking it neat is a little weird, frankly. It smells very much like bubblegum and like Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, which doesn't necessarily sound appealing. But I think the thing that really wowed me was the moment I put it in a daiquiri, blown away. Like, it was so good. But I got these really lovely, soft, and gentle notes of coconut and pineapple, less so like those notes of like overripe pineapple and banana, but this really lovely kind of pina colada-esque flavors in the daiquiris. I love that. So I realized the moment this was available here on the West Coast, I had to grab a bottle, and so I haven't cracked it open yet, but this is going to be used in a heck of a lot of daiquiris throughout this summer. And the last rum in the daiquiri section of this video is Hamilton Breezeway Blend. Now, I've talked about this, I think, before in the new releases video. This is the newest Hamilton release. It's a kind of a collaboration with Spike over at the Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour channel on YouTube. And it is a blend of two of Hamilton's rums. It's the White Stash, which I think has Trinidad, maybe some Dominican Republic, and some Guyana rums. And then the Jamaica Pot Still Blonde, which is, I believe, Worthy Park distillate that some of it or all of it has been aged some amount of time in some St. Lucia rum barrels. But blended together, that gets us this rum here. Haven't opened it yet, so I can't really tell you what it tastes like. They've done a great job, Spike and Ed, of really getting people galvanized and excited. They did a great job of kind of building up the hype for the rum, and then when it came out, people kind of just, really immediately try to get their hands on it, and I think it's been a pretty successful launch, and I think that's really cool to kind of see how they've done that and how people have really kind of gotten behind this. So I just think that's really cool. I don't know if I will or will not do like a full-on YouTube video on this. So yeah, I just feel a little weird about kind of reviewing another YouTuber's rum. I don't know. Maybe I will. I mean, I'm not going to make it like sensational and schlocky and kind of have the thumbnail say, YouTuber reviews other YouTubers' rum or anything like that. So we'll see. I'll try a bunch of cocktails, and if I feel like there's something I need to want to say about it or think would be an interesting review, I'll do it. But I feel like most people who've wanted this already got their hands on it, and I don't know if there are many people on the fence. I feel like either you're not much of a cocktail person, or if you are, you probably already bought this. So I don't know what my review could really kind of do or be of value. But if I have a very strong opinion, one way or the other, maybe I will spend the time and actually review this. We shall see. All right, so this last section of rums here are rums that I bought to make cocktails with that aren't daiquiris. And they all happen to be kind of restocks. These are rums that I kind of always like to have on hand for cocktails, and I happen to be out, so I just re-upped on them. All right, so the first rum in this section is Appleton Signature, right? This is a classic rum. It's Jamaican rum from Appleton Estate, bottled at 40% ABV. It's a blend of pot and calm still rums. No age statement, but age probably a handful of years, 4, 5, 6 or something like that most. And this is something I always have in hand for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, if you watched my 50-50 shots video, I love to do shots with this neat, as well as mixed half and half with Chinar. Another real reason that I like to always keep this on hand is because it's cheap, right? It's like $23, $24, at least where I'm at, and I think that's a good deal, right, for what you get. And really, anytime I have people over, especially family members who want cocktails and they want like a Mai Tai, for example, I always use this because it's cheap and they've got basic taste. They're not going to appreciate me using like an Appleton 12 or some other kind of fancier, higher proof, higher priced Jamaican rum like a Hamden or a Worthy Park. So you know what, this will totally scratch the itch for them, and it's not costing me a lot. Now the next bottle in this lineup is Avua Cachaça Ambarana. This is a cachaça from Brazil. It's aged up to 2 years in Ambarana wood casks, and Ambarana imparts like a lot of cinnamon, in my opinion, some cedar kind of notes. This is cane juice, bottled at 40% ABV, and I don't really, besides the shot, the 50-50 shot that I like to drink this with, specifically with the Verna for something like rich and caramelly and kind of desserty, I actually don't really like this neat. I don't think it really does it for me. Now, really, what I use this for a lot when it comes to cocktails is one specific cocktail, and that's a Smuggler's Cove original. It's the Dr. Barca's Fluffy Banana. Now, if you haven't had that, it is a cocktail with this cachaça, with some banana liqueur, some bitters. I think there's some lemon juice in there as well, maybe some coconut cream as well. And it is a delightful, rich yet kind of complex kind of cocktail. It's super crushable. It's one of mine and many people's favorite cocktail at Smuggler's Cove. And my wife and I really like to drink them. And so it's always good to have this on hand. Also, instead of kind of linking the recipe down below, what I'll do is link to a video from Derek at the Make and Drink YouTube channel, and you can actually watch his video where he makes the cocktail. Great video, as always, and you can kind of get the recipe there and kind of, he goes into it a little bit more detail, but lovely cocktail, really fun. If you can get your hands on this, you definitely want to try that cocktail. And the last bottle for this video is good old Rumfire. Yeah, this is a flask of Rumfire. So I had finished my last bottle and I realized I was empty, so I went looking for a bottle of Rumfire. Couldn't find it anywhere in the Bay Area. It seemed like all my local places were all out, but one place had a flask. So I'm like, better something than nothing. So I got myself a flask, and then like I think the week later I happened to stumble across another shop and they had a bottle. So now I have two, a flask and a full bottle. You can never have enough Rumfire, frankly. I feel like I've talked about Rumfire a good amount on this channel, but if you're not familiar, this is a Jamaican rum from Hampden Estate in Jamaica. It's bottled at 63% ABV. It has the best label in the business, frankly, and it is just a delightful, big, punchy, ridiculous, flavorful rum, honestly. Overripe tropical fruits, some gasoline. It's just quite the treat, and it makes any cocktail just kind of instantly become like a amazing like tropical vacation. What do I do with this? You know, sometimes I'll do a full Rumfire daiquiri. Sometimes I'll just add a little splash of it in a daiquiri to give it just a little bit of like flavor. But one of my go-to cocktails, which is this ridiculous over-the-top cocktail, much like this rum, is the Rum Firewalker. It is 3 full ounces of Rumfire, an ounce of lime, an ounce of cinnamon syrup, and an ounce of Campari. It is big, bold, ridiculous, over the top, but it is remarkably balanced. And it might seem like there's no way that's going to be drinkable, but it is totally drinkable. Yes, it's going to knock you on your ass, and you know you probably shouldn't have more than one, but it is a delightfully balanced, tasty cocktail. And if you want to see me actually talk about the cocktail and make it and drink it, well, go check out the link below that I'm going to have to the Make and Drink YouTube channel, another plug for Derek here, where I got to appear on his channel and we made the drink, we tried it, we had a great time, and I think it was kind of polarizing on his channel. The people who were following him seemed like maybe some people didn't really like it, and some people loved it, and that's kind of what I expect out of that cocktail. It is kind of crazy, and I don't expect everyone to love it, but the people who do, like, love it, love it. So yeah, this is everything that I've gotten my hands on over the last couple of weeks. I'm curious, have you tried any of these? Do you have any strong opinions one way or the other? And also, more importantly, what have you been buying over the last couple of weeks? What have you been enjoying? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, if you're interested in any kind of behind the scenes content where I try some of these rums for the very first time and give my kind of gut reaction to them, then check out my Patreon page. I have tons of content there that I think you'll really like. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.